Warrior. We have a very special discussion coming up. We have a return guest, Tammy Rodriguez. I put a warning out there. We both put a warning out there. The conversation is real, raw, but it is the truth you need to hear. And Tammy is the mother of two beautiful daughters, Selena, and Tammy will share the story of Selena and her story, and also Destiny. And I want to kind of leave everything up to Tammy Rodriguez to whatever she feels like telling us. But I do want to warn you that, walk away if you want, stay with us if you want, listen to this later, whatever you want to do. We are here to educate, raise awareness, and help you with your children, with your families. So you don't have to go through what Tammy's been through. And Tammy Rodriguez, you really are a warrior. And I am so honored to know you. And I just want to jump right in and say, welcome back to the Warriors.
Thank you so much for having me back.
Of course. I want to start with, let's start with a little background, but whatever you want to share about Selena before we jump into, then I want to talk about our great day in New York City, marching peacefully, everybody, on the Meta headquarters. Yes. What do you want to share about Selena? Whatever you want.
So Selena died by suicide when she was 11. Unfortunately, she was addicted to social media. It took a little while coming, but then it just sucked her in all the way. She changed into a totally different child than who she was before that. And my main focus now is to educate and to spread the awareness of what is going on online for these kids, especially on social media. Yes.
Tammy, I'm reaching through the computer to you because I'm in New York City. You're in Connecticut.
Yes.
And I'm hugging you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm hugging you. I'm hugging you. And I'm hugging you. Because of your voice and some of the other parents and family members, that came into New York City last month. We're going to get into that. We are able to really raise this awareness. We are really able to spread the word. You didn't even know, right? Selena, you got her a phone. No, you got her an iPad or something to play with in the beginning?
She started with a tablet. And then once it ran out of memory was when she convinced me to get her the iPhone, and which then moved on to the iPad. And as things went on, like they say, hindsight is 2020. Looking back, I can see that she was changing as the devices changed also.
Well, I'm going to, in the body of this video, put some of the different studies that show there is a true internet addiction. Well, not just saying this, there is a true, and it affects children. It affects adults, even children. We're talking about the children, the young brains in so many different ways. And parents have really no idea, right? That any of this is even going on. Who can even think of these things?
I had no idea before all of this happened. None at all.
None. And I also,
I'm sorry. I was going to say that of the predators that are out there, things like that. But the other harms are what people don't know about unless you're in the situation.
Well, you don't really think, if you're giving your child, listen, there's been a lot of awareness in the last couple of years, a lot, right? Compared to what there was even 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago. There was basically pretty much nothing. It's just the last couple of years we are coming together as warriors. We are really, parents coming together, government coming together, much more awareness. But we always, stranger danger and stuff like that. But who really thinks about, a phone could be an addiction? I didn't even know it till the studies started coming out and people started talking. Who knows these things, right? So, I whatever you want to talk about, Tammy, I'm very protective of you and of all parents and children and stuff like that. I wanted you to come back on the Warriors. Well, I want you here all the time, right? But we had such an incredible day in New York City, right? In my opinion, last month. And I wanted to share that with everybody because that is exactly the kind of take action we need.
Right.
It's just, our Warriors hashtag is community creates change. It was a true community movement and moment. And I also, Tammy, I've never been to anything that was that well organized. I kid you not.
Yes. And that's why, for me, myself, that's why I'm willing to do those, because it is so well organized.
we're going to get into it. So the Heat Initiative, great collaborators, allies of ours, um, I guess sponsored, we'll say sponsored this, along with Archwell Foundation. We'll throw them in. We'll get into it a little bit.
Mhm.
And we peacefully marched on the Meta headquarters here in New York. And Meta, everybody, is Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp. It was everything from, a breakfast, the water bottles, police liaisons, wellness coaches, take a
Mhm.
breath. I felt so good. Everybody kind of looking out for each other. But Tammy, run through the day. Tell us your thoughts. You brought Destiny with you.
Yes. So that's big for me that Destiny came with me. She kind of hasn't been involved in everything so much, but that I think really changed her day. I mean, her changed her mind that day. Just all of us being there together. We all met there at that restaurant. We got our little bit of time there, and just the way they had everything organized,
Yes.
like you said, even down to the fanny packs with a bag of snacks in them, in case you needed it. Um, and just to be surrounded by people that care, that love us, that support all of us families. Um, for me, I've been doing this since 2022 is when we started, we had filed. And just to see the difference now and how people are there to support us and how people are seeing what we really went through. It's not what everybody else seems to think, so to have all of those people come together, yourself and Nikki and just everybody being there, it was so comforting for me, and just you gave me that motivation that I need to keep going on this fight.
I I I really myself was overwhelmed, Tammy, at the parents, at you. And I'm going to keep saying peaceful protesting. It really was. Everybody was very peaceful
Yes.
around the block. We stopped. We had music. We left flowers, and we had some speeches. And I know you spoke. And I have to say, Tammy, you're
Mhm.
always so like nice and gentle. And then this warrior woman got up to the microphone. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that's my girl, Tammy. That's it. That's it. Go. Um, tell us about that, because I know you're speaking up, you're speaking out. I this fuels you. Like, tell us like about you with
Well,
all
when
of
I
this.
get for myself, I like to tell people I've always been the wallflower. I always wanted to blend in the background. I was always hesitant about doing things that, may have, rustled somebody's feathers or something. But to get up there and stand there with all that support around me, I tell people that Selena was very spicy. She was very spicy. She was
I think
one.
I think I know where she gets it from, because I saw a warrior woman come out there. Okay, go ahead.
She, in all of the best ways, I should say. But when I get up there to speak, I tell people I feel her, and I don't know what people believe or whatever, but I feel her channel through me. Um, my voice is never that big as it was that day. Even when I walked away, I was surprised at myself. And when I watched the video after, I was very surprised at myself, because that's not me normally. I am normally quiet, but to get out there, and when that voice needs to be used, now I know to use that voice and pull it out from wherever it needs to come from.
Tammy, we need that,
Yes.
because that was empowering.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? That was the glue that's holding everybody together, right? That
Yes.
is, I mean, we had wonderful. I met my great friend. I've known him a long time, but never in. Well, I actually did meet him one other time in person. Chris McKenna. Do you know him from Protect Young Eyes?
Maybe if I saw him in, maybe just not by name.
He was there, very tall. It's called Protect Young Eyes, and he has a wonderful website and teachings. And he breaks down every, platform and gives you nuggets of information, because these apps and games and this and that, they're popping up right and left. Like, we can't keep ahead of all of this. And that, of course, is what big tech wants and predators want, right? Confusion. We shut our eyes, we close the door. But I saw him that day. I felt so good. I saw Nikki from,
Yes.
scrolling podcast, and I love her mom doing great work,
Mhm.
talking about the issues. We just want to raise awareness.
Yes.
Um, I felt that day that I was there kind of like to guard everybody. I know that sounds strange. And
No.
I think Tammy Selena does come out through you.
Yeah.
I really believe that. And do you remember at one point and you said, "Oh, that's Selena." I think like the sun came out.
Hmm.
Do
Yeah.
you remember we were like standing somewhere? We were something. We had to keep moving because the
Oh, I
sun
think it was the sun.
kept following us.
Yes. Yes.
Everywhere we went, there was like no shade, and there was shade,
Right.
and then the
Right.
sun was coming out and blinding our eyes. Let's move to the
Yes.
next spot. And then you turned to me at one point. It really choked me up, and you said, I think that's Selena." Like you
Mhm.
said that, and I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, she's with us.
Yes.
Tell us now what's going on. So we did the Meta Peaceful March. We're
Yes.
going to do a lot more with Heat Initiative. I was also impressed. We had different ages. We had a lot of young people, which I
Right.
love seeing the young people,
Yeah,
right?
me too. Yes.
Tell
Because they're
us,
in it.
yeah.
Those kids are still, or not, young adults are still in it, and they're still going through those things of dealing with social media and seeing what the other kids have, fallen because of. So
Yeah,
to me, yeah,
well, they're angry. They're
yeah,
angry. We have some studies out, and they're angry that I'm going to say. So now we have like Alpha generation is 2010 or so to now. It fluctuates. Sometimes they say 2012. Who could keep up? Who knows what's true or not, right, Tammy? Right.
right, exactly.
But then we have like Design for Us. That's the name of the group. We have young people that are angry that they were kind of used as guinea pigs.
Right.
They had no say. Parents had no say. They were just thrown into this.
Hmm.
No guardrails. Go, and big tech rules the roost. You know it. I know it. I say this with all due respect. I do a lot of work in Washington.
Yeah.
That is the truth.
Yeah.
I kind of say it sounds corny. Money talks and crime walks.
No, I agree.
That's what it is because parents will say to me a lot, "Why does this go on, Lynn? This abuse online?" And well, it's the money. I hate to sound so crass all the time, but it's money, and kids are the eyeballs and the product. And tell us though what's going on since we had that Meta March.
I don't have anything planned for right now that any speaking or anything like that. So I'm just kind of waiting to see what's going on. I do
Okay.
have where I'm trying to um, work with the Attorney General in Connecticut because I guess there's a couple senators within Connecticut that are not sure about our bill that we have here in the state. So I'm trying to work with them also.
Well, tell us about that. What's going on in your state of Connecticut?
They're also trying to push through a similar act. I don't know the exact. I don't remember the name of it, so I don't want to try to quote that.
But are you talking? No, don't quote anything. And listen, we're very grassroots here. It's
Yeah.
nothing. Are you talking about now? Because we just had. I was in the Rose Garden at the White House a week ago.
Right.
That was for the Take It Down Act, right?
Yes. Yes.
And so that's getting the images down 48 hours, or the tech platform is held responsible. Now we have reintroduced the Kids Online Safety Act. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, it's the state level though.
At the state level, though, because
the Kids Online Safety Act, yes.
Because Kids Online Safety Act is Senator Richard Blumenthal, your senator.
Correct.
Okay? So I actually went to his office the other day just to remind. I covered with two allies of mine. We covered 41 offices to remind them that they originally supported Kids Online Safety Act. And here it comes again. So we want to make sure that you continue to support it. So we have that coming down the pike. I have a good feeling after Take It Down Act, this will pass.
I think so too. I hope so.
No, manifest positivity, Tammy.
Yes.
It will happen.
It will.
We do have tremendous support now in Washington where the doors are open, which is good news. And we remind everybody, these are human rights, issues and abuses. Doesn't belong to any political party.
Right.
Right. It is right. So, and most of the bills are all Democrat and Republican. That's how they're, sponsored. And then we get everybody else to sign on, or we threaten them, right, Tammy? Tell me what you're thinking now, because I'm doing a lot of work with AI, artificial intelligence. And I'm very frightened, and that's not a word a warrior woman like me uses, right?
Right. Hmm.
Because we've seen what's happened in the past.
Yes.
We're catching up now. And
Right.
all of a sudden, we're thrust into this artificial intelligence environment with the chatbots and
Mhm.
the isolation and the this and the that. What are your thoughts as a mom? And you have Destiny. I don't know if you talk about these things at all with her. What do you hear and what are you thinking about all this?
I think frightening is a good word for it. It's very scary. All of these AIs that are coming out one at a time and without the guardrails, and the fact that the one that was for the 13 and under, I don't understand that. The AI makes people think that it's another person if you are in that mindset. A very good friend of mine, her mom passed away a couple weeks ago, and she had used one of the chat GPT or whatever what AI she had used to come up with like a little poem to put with some buttons that she had at the funeral. Well, it started consoling her, and she said it was just like having another person there. And she didn't know how much I am involved in it, but she said it's just, I don't even need to have another friend. And I was like, yeah, you can't look at it that way. You can't. And I think that's how a lot of people are looking at it, that are lonely, kids that are isolated, people who are isolated, they are using it for that. And it's not right, because it's not trained to do it the right way. You know,
Well, it's such of opening a can of worms because there is a good component to
yeah.
AI.
Hmm.
Obviously, healthcare.
Right.
There is a lot. Now, I was just talking to a good friend of mine, Tim Estes,
Hmm.
and he came out with Angel Q. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's a kid-friendly browser that just
I
was
was
launched.
listening to you talk about that on one of
I,
the
I'm
podcasts.
telling you, if you get a chance, because I want everybody to listen. Tim is a dream because I don't even have to ask a question. He just goes, for an hour. And I would never interfere because the information I learned so much, Tammy. He's been
Really?
in AI for 25 years,
Oh,
right?
wow.
And in that kind of field, right? He knows his stuff.
Right.
Did about an hour, and that's when I know the audience poops out. They can't.
Mhm.
But I learned, and that's why I want everybody to listen to this, like kind of why this is happening,
Right.
what these big tech platforms, why they want this, what it's doing to kids. They don't want, look, we always say things like, oh, we're lucky if we have one or two good friends, right?
Right.
I don't know if you say that, Tammy. I always say that. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
lucky. The goal of AI with chatbots is to give kids 15 friends. Now, their little developing minds, they're going to be so busy. We know we have upwards, we don't even know, between 7 and 9 hours, or all different studies kids are spending online a
Yes.
day, right? So now we're going to give them these fake little chatbot people. They're
Right.
not people. I shouldn't say that. Chatbots.
Right.
Um, and they'll just be totally absorbed. But Tim explains exactly, and I'm bringing this up because he explains exactly why that is, how it translates into money. Because remember, the bottom line is always money for all of this. And I want everybody to really listen to that because it was such a great tutorial. He's easy to understand, and it's here. It's not like it's coming. We've been
Right.
talking about it a long time. It's
Mhm.
here. So we better understand it ourselves so
Yeah.
we can deal with our kids, our grandkids, family members
Right.
with this. But he really wants to flip it, being that he has a career in AI.
Hmm.
He really believes it can be utilized with kids for good if we can. And that's why I want everybody to listen to it, what he envisions, and
Okay.
that's what we have to push as well
Yes.
into the communities and homes because it's not going away.
No, it's not. Just like social media is not. You
You mean anti-social media? I say that, of course, in
Yeah.
air quotes. Um, but also, we have an administration, not to get political, that we have Take It Down Act, tremendous piece of legislation, first piece since 1998 for
Right.
child safety online, which is really that's incredible, right? That nothing happened in all those years in between.
Right.
And then we have an administration who thinks AI is terrific, and they just signed a proclamation K through 12. They're putting it into all the schools. So I say to myself, Tammy, okay, you know what I'm saying? It's a contradiction. How are
Right.
we utilizing that in the schools? And where is that AI information coming from?
Right.
Right? What's the vetted source?
Yes.
So
I
we've
know.
got kids, and people wonder why we have a youth mental health crisis. We're throwing so much
Hmm.
right at
Yeah.
these kids.
Right.
But
Things that
again,
deal with until they were adults in the past, if it even
well,
was this real thing
it,
then.
no, but it's just a different everything. I feel like in the last few years, this is nothing we've known. We could have predicted, like we didn't know about, right?
Not at
It's
all.
just it's just here kind of thing. And I always say I'm so lucky because my kids are all in their 30s.
Hmm.
So I feel like they just missed this kind of 30 and under digital bubble that all the young people and kids are caught into. So now
Yes.
we have a duty. I want to ask you
Hmm.
about you, Tammy.
Okay.
Are you taking care of yourself? And you don't have to answer anything I even ask you. You just
Hmm.
um I really think of you. You're wearing Selena, and I just told you, and I'll say it now. I was with a friend in Washington because I was wearing Selena since you gave me that pin the day of the Meadow March, and people would always ask me, and I would always talk about the issues, and she really wanted it, and I gave it to her. How are you helping yourself? I mean, because you're talking about this, I mean this all the
Hmm.
time, all the time. Do you ever turn it off or do you just keep going?
Um, I turn it off once in a while, but I think it really helps me to keep going.
Yes.
Being able to tell her story and people that are willing to listen, um, and understand what's going on and ask questions. Those kind of things really keep me going. Um, it may sound crazy, but but I have had my therapy that I've gone through. Also, I'm doing well now, so I'm not in there right now. But just taking care of myself however I need to. I've had a lot of medical issues come up since she passed away. I don't know if it's from the grief that may have made it manifest, in physical ways, but I'm just doing what I have to because I know that's what she would want me to do.
And you're
And
doing it, Tammy, you're doing it. I can't tell you enough that if it's okay with you, I'll put more of the story of Selena in the body of the
oh, of
video.
course,
That
yeah,
you, you
fine.
know, um I want to know, what do you think though? And I ask this question a lot, but I'm going to ask it again for warriors listening who are asking why, because I get this on a daily basis. Why this? Why that?
Hmm.
Why do you think so many parents, now that we're talking, certainly we have you as a warrior, some other great parents, groups, and organizations. Don't tell anybody else, Tammy, but you're my number one warrior. Okay.
I won't tell.
Even, even
Thank
um,
you.
why do they resist? We're giving them proof. We're giving them there are dangerous algorithms. We're showing them the studies. There are, eating disorders, cyberbullying, sextortion. We have you,
Mhm.
coming out so bravely, sharing.
Yeah,
Why do they? I know it's dark and ugly,
right.
but why are they resisting? To hear about it. I know it's hard, but why do you think?
Well, a lot of people are quick to blame the parents. That's like the first thing that some people will say is, well, were you watching her? Were you checking her phone? Why did you get it for her? Why didn't you turn off the light?
Sorry, I'm sorry. That's wrong.
It is. So then I
It's
explain
so wrong.
what I've learned about, the algorithms and things like that. And their eyes kind of open a little bit more. There's somebody in particular I, that knew Selena well, and from the way it seemed, I hadn't seen her in many years. No, I shouldn't say many years, but for a while after Selena passed. And when I did see her, she was very cold to me. So I went and I spoke to her and I told her the reason why we're doing this. I think so many people are focused on parents wanting to get money out of somewhere, out of anybody, and that's not why we're doing this. We're doing this because we need to save these kids, because there's so many that are stuck in these situations, and how many that have committed suicide since Selena did. It's things like that I think about, and it just keeps me going because the education needs to be out there.
I mean, it sounds so simple, but it really is raising awareness and education.
Yes.
That's what it's taking. And I want to remind everybody, along with you, Tammy, we have so many kids suffering right now. This cyberbullying
Mhm.
is worse than one can even imagine. The
Yeah.
eating disorders, we're part of the eating disorders coalition.
Okay.
Even I didn't even know how children are being affected by all of this. I have a mom here in New York, one of our warriors. Her son took a TikTok challenge to subway surf.
I
You
heard
know,
about that one.
and so in New York, I'm a New Yorker. We always had the subway surfing, sort of, right?
Mhm.
But now we have TikTok, giving these challenges.
Yes.
Her son never did anything, teenage boy, 15, wrong.
Wow.
Like good student, good
Right.
son, good everything,
Mhm.
and just did it on a dare one day.
Yeah. It's
And so
scary.
we really, it's so scary, right? Because kids, their brains, they're kids, their brains aren't developed. I'm sorry to hear that is so wrong. People judging parents. I
Yeah.
like to try to believe all the time everybody's doing the best they can do, right?
Exactly.
And that is something I'm always talking about. People have to work. Maybe there's a single parent household. Where's the support for that mom and those children when she's out trying to put, rent money, food, make the rent, make the food? We
Mhm.
work a lot on that in the Warriors, and people don't really talk about that element of it that
No,
much,
they
right?
don't. Mhm.
They
Yes.
don't at all. And I also I digress a little bit. I want to share with you, I was doing a talk a few weeks ago with a sex trafficking survivor, right? A woman, grown woman now. And the audience questioned, one woman says to her, "Where was your mother when all this was going on?" And I shut that down, Tammy. And I know this woman who asked that question.
Mhm.
And I shut her down, Tammy, and she kept going. I
Wow.
was a good mother to my kids. I would have known where, well, you know what? I said, Tammy, the woman never had to work.
Okay. Big difference.
Beautiful big house in Westchester, you know, uh, right? And they don't understand that, right? And I'm happy. I told her I'm happy you didn't have to deal
Yes.
with any of this that
Exactly.
that most moms and some dads, family members have to deal with. But
Right.
here's the thing, Tammy, she kept coming at me. and
Oh,
and and my survivor, that I'm very protective of
yeah.
all of you,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
And the survivor is part of a book. It's a true crime with the author and with law enforcement detailing this. And
Mhm.
this woman didn't stop.
Oh,
And you
wow.
know what? It was kind of a new thing for me, Tammy. I'm
No.
like, wow. I guess
Right.
she wants to just say how great a mother she is. I don't know. Why would you do that even when I'm shutting her down?
Right.
So we have to put on our warrior, our armor. And I
Yes,
want you to make sure you always do that, because people say the craziest things.
they
They
do.
just, or they don't know what to say. So something ridiculous comes out of their
Right.
mouths. Now we're entering into June. Can you believe it? June. The time is flying by. I'm still back in the fall or something like that.
I
I'm
know
not sure
it.
where. I don't know where I am these days. With everything going on right now, speak to parents or speak to family members. What do you want them to know today?
I want them to know that they need to protect their kids when it comes to anything online, whether it be the social media, whether it be Roblox. You need to watch what your kids are using, because these algorithms are set up to make you fail or make the kids fail. That's how I see it. It doesn't give them what they're looking for, it gives them what they can't look away from, as I keep hearing people say. Um, Listen to the survivor parents who are trying to educate people. We're not here for any other reason. We don't have another MO. We're here to educate. I'm not here to tell you to take your kids off of social media, tell them never again, but when they're the right age is when they should have it. And they should
Yeah.
have education beforehand too, what to look out for, and as well as the parents should. And I think parents should start getting educated earlier, when the kids are younger, because Selena was only 11. You know, to think of somebody 11 years old to take their own life, it shocks people when I tell them her age, and it happens all the time, unfortunately.
I mean, Tammy, thank you for sharing that. But here's the thing,
Mhm.
Tammy, I'm telling parents now, as soon as your child can talk and walk, like I'm from the time they're born, I'm not kidding. Like we have to be age appropriate, like from the get-go,
We do. You're
you
right.
know, because we
Hmm.
started out a few years ago, it was okay, we're going to go into high schools and educate. And then I moved it into middle school years, like the
Hmm.
sixth, seventh, eighth. It really has to be younger and younger. Uh,
Yes.
and everybody has to get on board. You're very kind, Tammy, because, I'm going to say something. If parents buy, there's something called parental autonomy. So we can't tell somebody when you can buy a phone or a tablet or an iPad. However, I firmly believe we do at the Warriors. If you purchase those devices for your child, that you have a duty. You have
Yes.
a duty to put those guardrails on those devices, to educate yourself about them, to
Yeah.
talk to your kids, because the predators are talking to them.
They
The
sure are.
creepy cyber bullies.
Right.
They're all, why would we allow these strangers to talk to our precious kids and pollute their minds and have them do this, So I really am getting tough about this, Tammy. Like, if you buy a device, you have a duty to understand about all of that and to
Yes.
really understand what's going on, because none of this is going away.
Nope.
We just mentioned we're going into AI. We're here in the AI.
Mhm.
We have got to get tough about this. And I actually think we have to start. I used to not do it, Tammy, scare people.
Yes.
And I don't, how can I say this? If your story, and I'm so sorry, Tammy, if this doesn't scare people,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
I don't know what will.
Exactly.
And so
Because
they have to
um,
listen. They have to listen. I'm going to put resources in the body of the video. How can anybody help you? Do you want people to ever reach out to you? Do you want them to follow you? Like, tell me about you. What do you want to do?
well, I'm always open to speaking to people. Whether, if you want to put my email to share or LinkedIn,
Okay.
either of those are best. But I'm always open to talking or sharing with people. If they have questions, I'm very open with her story.
Well, I can't thank you enough, Tammy, for what you're doing. And I
Well, thank
really mean that from the bottom of my heart. As a mother, to a mother,
Mhm.
you are the true warrior. You are the one creating the difference. You are a leader. I want
Thank
you
you.
to call yourself a leader. Do you call yourself a leader? You have to be a
I don't.
leader. You're a
Okay,
leader.
leader.
Leader Tammy.
I
No, do you call yourself that? I'm serious. You have to call yourself
I
that.
don't, but I will have to work on that.
No, well, I'm going to get you a name tag that says Leader
Okay.
Tammy. Finish this up before I let you go. Anything else you want to say?
Uh, nothing else I can think of. But thank you,
Okay.
and for giving me the platform to speak about Selena and her story and what's going on.
No, absolutely. I'm going to put more, as I mentioned to you, more thorough Selena's story. I'm going to have your email and LinkedIn. I just want to check with you before I rattle off,
Thank
make sure
you.
it's okay with you.
Yes.
I'm going to put a link back to our day at Meta. I think it's
Okay.
important to refresh people if they haven't heard about it, right? So they
Mhm.
can see there's power in numbers. There are warriors. We've got a lot of voices and
Yes.
faces and families with this,
Mhm.
all different ages with this. And we want people to come on board with us, and we
Right.
want
And
people to join us,
and
right?
that's what I say too about like you just said about all ages. We have people from all different financial classes,
Oh,
different
yeah.
different ages, different, all of that. And it can happen to anyone. So that's one more thing I'll add is you can't say not my kid, because it can be your kid, because I didn't think it would be mine either. Yes.
Thank you, Tammy Rodriguez. You are certainly a warrior. Promise me we will speak again soon.
Promise.
I love you to pieces. Hugs and kisses to you and Destiny.
Thank
And
you.
all I can say is we are winning right now, and we're winning because of your voice. So thank you, Tammy.
Thank you.
Let's speak again soon.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you.
You're welcome.